The following podcast contains explicit language. One definition of explicit language is stated clearly and in detail, leaving no room for confusion or doubt. That's why we use those words.
Hello and welcome to episode 339 of the Thinking LSAT podcast. This episode will air on Monday, February 28th. You have a couple weeks still before the Wednesday, March 16th registration deadline for the April LSAT. The March LSAT is coming up in a couple weeks as well. That starts on March 11th. It's not too late to come to my March 2022 LSAT study group. I do that every other Thursday. It's free for anybody who has a Demon account. Every other Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And it's an LSAT class where you can ask me anything you want about the test or law school admissions. And my goal is to put you on the path toward going to law school for free. That's what I really care about, is helping you save $150,000. That's what I want to do for you. So, costs you nothing. Come to my free study group and let's talk. Today on the show, we had a big mailbag, huh?
Yeah.
We had an email from Charlie about how to do better in school. We had a tip from 2L at GW, Michael Hill, about becoming a better typist in order to get better grades.
We had 2 book recommendations in there on how to get better grades.
Okay. We had an email from a national collegiate boxing champion. Sion wrote in about his whole law school admissions plan. Wendy wrote in about law schools telling you to recycle cans
To save money.
instead of following our advice and saving $150,000. No, you'll have debt. Just recycle cans. Bring your lunch.
We'll minimize the debt you have when you leave our institution. Okay, thanks.
You'll graduate with $198,000 of debt instead of $199,000 of debt. We had a success story from Vladimir, a former Demon student who improved his LSAT by 27 points and now has multiple full ride scholarship offers to law school.
Yep.
By the way, first generation immigrant to the United States, 27-point LSAT improvement, at least 5 full ride scholarship offers. And then we did an evaluate question from PrepTest 73. A little bit of logical reasoning practice for you.
Yeah.
Ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
All right, the first email here is from Charlie. You want to dive in? And then I'm going to also do a shout out to our other podcast as we discuss this email from Charlie. But go ahead and read, why don't you?
Yeah, sure. Hello, Ben and Nathan. I have always wanted to reach out to you, but only now do I have anything genuinely helpful to share. Okay. I'm a junior in college and listen to your show every week. I always credit both of your advice for my jump from a 150 diagnostic to a 172 on the real thing. I've only taken it once at this point. Okay, sounds like Charlie's open to taking it again, which is awesome, even though he has a 172.
Yeah, well, get into that 99th percentile, right? He's at the 98th percentile now, and there's many people now applying with 175 and higher, so he certainly seems like he's got it in the tank potentially, so why not go for it? Yeah.
Nice work, Charlie. And you're a junior. You seem to bring up GPA more frequently on the show these days, and I couldn't agree more that people need to figure out undergrad completely before moving forward with anything else. I really suggest that you check out Carl Newport's book. Cal, sorry. I put an R in there. Cal Newport's book, which is actually ironic because I have this book on my audio playlist for my oldest son, and I read his other book, Deep Work. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Okay. Cal Newport's book, How to Become a Straight A Student. The book was incidentally recommended to me by a lawyer who works at a big law firm and attended HLS, Harvard. He insisted that the book was crucial for his success. I struggled academically in high school, so I pretty much followed the book to a T. As a result, I have a 4.0 after 6 semesters at a liberal arts institution.
Yeah, awesome. Wow.
Yeah, that is really good. I think having Cal as a guest on your show would be super entertaining and helpful for your listeners. Also, I promise that I will not be paying for law school. That's like a commitment.
Good.
Yeah, a vow. Okay, great. There's no doubt. It's now public, by the way. So just note that, Charlie. There's no doubt that you guys have saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe more. If I retake the LSAT, we'll see. Please do, by the way. I sent this email pretty impulsively, so I apologize for any typos.
That does not absolve you of typos and stuff. Stop. Don't do that. Is that what you were going to say? You're like,
Yeah,
no.
well, it's also odd because he didn't really have that many. So, I mean,
Oh.
bringing it to our attention is unnecessary, right? Also,
Just edit your shit. I mean, just edit it down. That's all. It's fine.
Yeah.
But don't apologize for typos. Fix the typos.
yeah.
Just a tip. I mean, whatever. He like obviously has listened to us in the past. So that's a professional tip for him going forward. Don't apologize for shit. If you know that it's a problem, then just take the time to fix it. It's not that hard. But
Yeah.
anyway, thank you for writing in, Charlie.
Yeah, no, thank you for writing in. I have to second his book, How to Become a Straight A Student, but I haven't read it. But my son started to read it and thought it was useful. So considering that he thought it was useful, I would think it's probably good too. But my main reason for endorsing that book comes from the fact that I read Deep Work, which I thought was pretty cool. So
Awesome.
the idea behind Deep Work is just, hey guys, people need to take more time in their life to disconnect and do hard work that is uninterrupted. I mean, I'm sure he has a lot more to say about it than that, but that was the takeaway I had from his book.
Cool. Okay, so Cal Newport, 2 book recommendations, Deep Work and How to Become a Straight A Student. We are in the business of saving people $150,000 or more on law school. I mean, I'm clearer and clearer these days. That's what I do. I help people avoid paying $150,000 for law school.
Yep.
And if you're still an undergrad, you need to get straight A's. I don't even want you in my LSAT classes if you're not getting straight A's. I don't care about your past grades, but I care about your present and future grades. If you're not yet graduated from undergrad, then you're working on a GPA that is going to count for law school admissions. And law school admissions folk are intensely interested in 2 numbers, your undergraduate GPA and your LSAT score. And it sounds like Charlie's trying to do both at once, but he's doing it successfully. He's got a 4.0 for 6 semesters in a row. So as long as you can maintain that, Charlie, then I would allow you to continue to study for the LSAT at the same time. But anybody who's out there listening to this, if you're getting a 3.7 because you're getting all A minuses, or if you're getting a 3.9 because you're getting 1 A minus, I don't want you in my LSAT class. It's not an appropriate use of your time and energy and focus. I want to save you $150,000. The way we can do that is you got to get straight A's. From now on, I don't care if you have a 2.0 up to this point. I don't care. I care that you get a 4.0 from this point forward. Because we got to control the shit that we can actually control. And there's no excuse for putting anything less than straight A's on your record from this point forward.
Yep.
We're clear about this. And, Charlie points out that you need to, what does he say? Oh, you need to figure out undergrad completely before moving forward with anything else. Law schools want to see that you have figured out how to do school. If you get straight A's, then they're going to go, okay, God, this person learned how to do school.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to demonstrate that. You can bullshit them any way you want, and they don't care. They care that you have demonstrated it through straight A's. So do that, then move forward with the rest of your LSAT prep. And if that means that you have to unsubscribe from the Demon for a while, so be it. We'll be here. You can come back later. Law schools will definitely be there. And you can come back to that whenever. But right now, you got to figure out school and put those straight A's on record from here until the point where you graduate from undergrad.
Hey, I want to add to that
Yeah.
the two numbers that law schools are most interested in are your GPA and your LSAT score, which you just talked about. And as you were talking about it, and as you quoted Charlie here saying you got to figure out undergrad completely first, I realized that, yeah, as you're saying, these schools want to make sure that you figured out how to do school, right? But I guess the realization I had, which I already knew, it just became even more crystal clear to me, and that is that these two goals, right? We're talking about them because they're what get you into law school. But you know that we're right because working on your GPA not only helps you get into law school, it also helps you succeed in law school, right? And so it's like when someone tells you, hey, you should do X, there's multiple reasons, multiple points of reference as to why that is what you should do. It isn't just, oh, it's going to get you into law school. It's also going to help you do better in law school. And if you can also figure out how to play this paper game, which is what undergrad and law school is, you're also going to be a better attorney, right?
It's what lawyering is.
Yeah,
Figuring out how to play the game.
Mm-hmm. And it's an academic game. It's a paper game. It's a game with writing.
In law school, it is. Yeah. And then once you're in legal practice, you're going to be figuring out how the game is played in various jurisdictions. You're going to be like learning how the game is played in this judge's courtroom versus how the game is played quite differently in this judge's courtroom versus how it's played quite differently in a completely other jurisdiction or under some other legal regime. And it's like that's the whole thing, is like learning what the rules are and learning how to play within those rule sets in these various venues. I mean, we don't have to listen to us. How about the dean of admissions at Harvard Law or at Michigan Law School? I mean, we talked about Dean Z on the last few episodes, but Dean Z says it, and it's exactly the two things that Ben was just talking about. It's going to help you get in because Dean Z is like, well, we have to report your undergraduate GPA. And we don't like to report low undergraduate GPAs because it makes us look bad on our 509 reports, and it makes us look bad to the ratings agencies, law school rankings agencies. And we don't want our ranking to drop. So we don't admit people we try not to admit people with GPAs that are below our medians. Like, we want you to be raising the GPA profile of our school.
Yep.
That's for admissions purposes.
Yeah.
But the other thing that Ben said was it helps you to do better in law school. And maybe it doesn't help you directly to do better in law school, but you're demonstrating to Dean Z that you can actually do the work. GPA, undergraduate GPA, is one of the strongest predictors that is available to Dean Z to figure out whether you're going to cut it in law school. And so she is very interested in how you did in your undergraduate grades because she wants to know whether you've figured out school.
Yep.
If you can figure it out in undergrad, then Dean Z goes, oh yeah, okay, great. You figured it out in your undergraduate degree. So that increases your chances of figuring it out in your graduate degree. And A minuses don't count. I mean, A minuses are going to be below Dean Z's medians.
Yeah.
You know, like I was arguing with some random dude. People don't know what they're in for when they email me, but it's like some random guy who's emailing me asking for help, and I'm trying to help him. And he keeps going back and forth with me about like, well, I'm on Dean's list. I'm like, Dean's list? I don't give a shit. Where does it say Dean's list on the 509 report?
Yeah.
Dean's list is, I don't care. That's nothing. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like your undergrad's giving you a pat on the back because you're on Dean's list with your 3.6 or whatever.
Yep.
And Dean Z's looking at it going, oh boy, that would lower my medians. And yeah, I'm just not so sure that you really are a killer. I just don't know that you've really figured out how to succeed in school.
Yep.
And it ain't no Dean's list. It's a 4.0 or it's not.
And you've already said this, but just to be clear for anyone out there who's feeling deflated because your GPA is low and undergrad is over, well, it's over. You can't control that. But what you can control is your LSAT score. And if you're feeling deflated because you're a junior and you only have a year and a few months left, fine. It's in the past. Your GPA that you have is in the past, but you can change the GPA that lies ahead of you. And that's what you have to do.
Yeah, again, I don't care about the sunk costs. I'm not beating you up about poor grades in the past. I don't give a shit about that. But if you're in a class right now and it counts for your undergraduate degree, I want you getting a straight A on every assignment.
Yep.
Because that's controlling the things that we can control right now. And by the way, take fewer classes, potentially take easier classes, cut out other things that are distracting you from putting straight A's on your record. So cut out your LSAT prep if you have to. Cut out your part-time job. Cut out your stupid internship, which you think is going to help you for law school admissions, which is nothing compared to your GPA.
Yep.
Cut down your hours at work. Do whatever you've got to do. That's like lawyers do whatever they have to do to win. So get straight A's so that you can demonstrate to these admissions folk that you know that you can prioritize, that you can do what it takes.
And to yourself. The power of taking your self-image and reframing it, because you're like, now you don't see yourself as a B+ student or an A- student, but you see yourself as an A student, is going to have implications not only in law school, but for the rest of your life. You're like, I can take on this challenge and rise to the level that I want to be at.
It's behaving like a lawyer. You're not behaving like a lawyer if you're getting a 3.7 right now. And I don't care about your past behavior. I care about your present behavior. You've got to start acting like a lawyer.
Yep.
And a lawyer is going to do everything to win. All right. Thank you, Charlie, for writing in. This other shout out. So I wanted to talk about, we have a recent episode of LSAT Demon Daily.
Okay.
That's our other podcast. It's a daily podcast, comes out 5 days a week. It's not just us. One of the highlights from the show recently, episode 161, our man Matt, who teaches mostly logic games for us, but he also does private tutoring. He's an awesome LSAT tutor at lsatdemon.com.
Yep.
But Matt Dumont had on Michael Hill, who is a former student of mine in LA. So is Matt, actually. They knew each other from the classes back then, and they were both TAs for me at one time. But Michael now, I can't believe how time flies. Michael's a 2L at GW. And he's killing it, apparently. Like literally straight A's, killing it. And he and Matt, who Matt's also a 2L, is that right? At Maryland?
Time is flying. I guess
at
he's
least.
got to be
Maybe he's
a
a
3L
3L by now. Shit, I don't know. Anyway, so these are two 2Ls, let's say, at East Coast law schools, and they did a whole episode about advice for incoming law students, advice on how to do better in law school. So that's episode 161 of the Demon Daily. If you want to get a head start on how to kick ass in actual law school, listen to that episode. They have lots of great tips, but I was amazed at Michael's number one tip, which was learn how to type or improve your touch typing abilities.
Oh, that's what he means by don't be a single digit pecker. So
Yes.
Typing with one finger.
Then you're a single digit pecker.
Wow. My kids were struggling with writing assignments, and I realized that half of the problem was the fact that they were struggling to type, right? Because that was slowing them down. It made the assignment 10 times harder. So I said, okay, we're just going to get this typing program. And now they do it actually kind of for fun, but they can type super fast. And this comment took me back to that was like a year ago. Pre their ability to type, things were painful. And the fact that people are still single digit peckers in law school is deeply concerning to me.
Yeah. You're gonna have a hard time with the volume of writing that's required, especially on those exams. I mean, you in a 2 or 3 hour exam, you're gonna write like 12 or 14 pages worth of shit.
Well, I don't even understand how that happens. How do you go through undergrad and not learn how to type?
Oh, they don't teach useful skills in school. I've said this a million times. I've said this on the podcast. I took my freshman year of high school, I took a full year of typing. And this
Yeah, I
was
did the
back in the
same
days
thing.
of electric typewriters and shit.
Yeah.
It's like so antiquated.
Yeah.
But a full year, first period after lunch, every day, I was like, Ms. Dryden was in there yelling at us, A, space, S, space, D, space.
You and I had a
And
little different of an experience, but yeah.
well, anyway,
Yeah.
I learned how to touch type super fucking fast. And my ability to touch type, it's easily the single most useful educational experience of my entire life by far. It's just not even close. Like, what's the most useful thing you ever learned in school? Typing. 100%. And
practical.
y'all kids these days might think that we'll be in this like voice typing thing. Well, maybe.
I don't know. There's
Probably
something
not.
about
Probably not by the time you graduate from law school. You're not going to
Yeah.
be voice typing your law school exams. No way. They'll still let you handwrite it in a blue book if you want. That'd be exceedingly dumb. You need to learn how to touch type. You need to learn how to type fucking fast. And anyway, it was amazing to me that there's an actual 2L at George Washington, who's killing it in law school, saying, learn how to type. And if you already know how to type, learn how to type faster.
Yeah.
And more reliably.
And it's so easy today, right? Like today, I just searched typing websites. The first thing that comes up is Typing Club. These things are free or they have free options. You can just go in there and the keyboard appears in the browser and you can start practicing typing and tell you how fast you're typing and how many you're getting, like what your percentage of accuracy is. It's so easy. Your experience does remind me, I don't remember a lot of classes from high school, but I do remember my typing class. I did not have a teacher yelling at me. Instead, I had a yellow Walkman with a mixtape of Rush music, and I would listen to Rush and type.
Oh, you weren't typing the lyrics of the Rush.
No, that was just me bringing in my
listening to Rush.
Yeah, because there was
typing.
I don't know, the teacher was absent. I don't remember the teacher. I just remember being on a computer and
It was just
sat
like
there and
retype
typed.
this shit and
Yep.
you just type it. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. However you decide to learn to touch type, definitely do not be a single digit pecker. It's just going to be harder. Like law school exams, I mean, the second the clock starts, there's just this like, I don't know, like crazy buzz of everybody typing at the same time. And that buzz doesn't stop for the entire 2 hours. I mean, people go into those law school exams knowing in advance what kinds of like templates they're going to use for their analysis. They're like, oh, well, I know that this is a torts class. We're going to talk about negligence. So let me get this outline for here's how I do a negligence analysis on the page, right?
Yeah.
Simple example. But it's like they don't even read the exam to start potentially, which is probably dumb. But they're just like regurgitating, here's all the shit that I know I'm going to use, and then read the exam and the facts and then start putting the facts into that template that they've typed out. But I mean, it's like just a torrent of words that are going onto those pages the second the exam starts. And if you're going to be sitting there one at a time trying to type your exam answer, good luck. You're not going to beat Michael Hill in your exams.
I really hope that this is not a common issue, because just to make clear, my two kids that I'm talking about, my two youngest kids don't worry about typing yet, but my two oldest kids, my oldest is a junior in high school and my second is in 8th grade. He's in middle school and he knows how to type and type fast. So the fact that people in law school don't know how to type is really concerning. And at GW.
I imagine it is extremely common that people don't know how to type.
Wow. If you're listening to this now,
Yeah.
you need to take care of your GPA and typing, please. That wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah.
By the way, work on typing.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Hey, I mean, I wrote 6 LSAT books. I would have written 0 LSAT books if I didn't know how to type. I mean, it is a crazily wildly useful ability
Yeah.
that will impact everything you do for the rest of your professional life. If you're going to go down this road of being a knight of the English language,
A professional writer. One of the most
a
highly paid
professional
professional writers. Yep.
yes, if you're going to be a professional writer, you need to learn how to touch type. That's like step one. I mean, like there should be typing on the LSAT. There should be a typing test on the LSAT.
Can you type 30 words per minute? If no,
Like
you're
literally. What? Why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
At
I think,
least.
dude,
Yeah.
if they were gonna test things that were like really useful, why not have that?
Sure.
Maybe some smart law school out there will start adding a little touch typing test they could probably do it in 4 minutes, right? They could just have a little, like it could be an online thing, a little portal. You log on, you do your touch typing test, and then when it's like it would give, the good thing about it is that it would give them another numeric thing that they could look at.
Yeah, very
They could
easy.
put it in a spreadsheet.
You could just mix it into your index number. You don't.
Hell
then
yeah.
It becomes one number. Yeah.
Right. And then they'd have, we got your undergraduate GPA, we got your LSAT score, and we got your typing score. And we could use those 3 things now to figure out what your capacity is for the competition of law school and legal practice beyond. That's a little free bit of advice for some enterprising law school out there. Okay. Ready for this next one?
Yeah.
This is long.
Uh-oh.
I thought about writing Sion back and telling him to edit this down first, but instead I decided to just put it on the agenda. I wish this was shorter. Hi guys. First, thanks for doing what you do. It's a real help to us knuckle draggers out there. That's a run-on sentence in Sion's first sentence. That's why you need to edit your shit down and just make it shorter, because then you won't do shit like that. But anyway, my question is about weather, WEATHER. Google Docs helpfully highlighted that as a typo / spelling mistake. My question is about whether the nature of my shit grades statement is something law schools will care for, which is an odd preposition.
Yeah. Care
I think
about.
you meant care about. Okay, so we've got multiple errors here. Sion, you really need to clean your shit up before you send it out the door. Anyway, I graduated from the United States Military Academy, West Point, almost a decade ago with a less than stellar GPA, a 2.6 to be exact. I'm currently scoring an average of 172 over 30-ish timed LSAT practice tests, and I plan on writing a poor grades statement for obvious reasons. Which you should, I guess, write a 2-sentence addendum just to put it out of your mind. But also nobody cares.
Yeah, you haven't given us any facts, at least, to put a positive spin on this 2.6.
Even if you do put a positive spin on it, it is what it is. Dean Z is going to look at that and go, well, you're going to significantly lower my medians, and I don't know if you have what it takes to get it done in law school.
And if your addendum has anywhere close to any of the mistakes you have in this email, it's actually going to hurt you.
Yeah, like capitalizing graduated in the beginning of the third sentence.
Yeah.
Capital G graduated. Like, what are you doing? Edit, please.
Yeah.
Anyway, 172 kicks ass. Good job.
Yep.
As a preface, neither of my parents went to a professional school, so I had no knowledge of or intent on perusing education past college. That's the wrong word. You meant pursuing. Is there a single sentence here without a mistake in it?
I don't think so.
Not yet. I feel you, Sion. I also am a first-generation college student. Neither of my parents have bachelor's degrees. I love helping first-generation students. I'm glad you wrote into the show. I did the same thing you did, by the way. I had almost your exact same GPA. I had a little lower. I had a 2.54 undergraduate GPA. I never intended to go to grad school. I ended up getting 3 graduate degrees. I had no counseling. I had no advice from my folks. I went to too big of an undergraduate school, UC Davis, and I like didn't access any resources there for like counseling, whatever. Like they didn't help me. Nobody was there guiding me at all. And I just was like almost intentionally got bad grades just to graduate as fast as I could, which, was dumb. Like for law school, that was really, really dumb of me. But I had no advice. So that's why I do what I do. My only goals at West Point were to graduate, branch into the infantry, and win a boxing national championship. He meant championship. That's just a typo misspelling. That's what actually got my attention here was the boxing national championship.
Okay.
So I put a plan together to meet those specific goals. In doing so, I devoted most of my time to my athletic pursuit, doing just enough to ensure I had high enough class rank to branch air defense so I could parlay that to detail myself into the infantry branch. Air defense is relatively easy to get, and infantry is fairly hard. By all accounts, I succeeded in all of my goals. Just a little note here about like, if you're when you present yourself to law schools, they don't give a shit about your plan. They give a shit about the results of the plan. Right? So you don't need to tell them that you made a plan and fulfilled the plan. Get to the point where you win a national championship in boxing.
Yeah.
Because like that one fact means that, this dude put some plans together and ended up kicking ass, literally and figuratively, to win that national championship. So I would just get around to that and lead with that. And then you could just don't even say all the rest of it. But anyway, are capital L law schools going to look at that and say, quote, this guy made a plan, stuck to it, and succeeded? Or, quote, this jackass has no foresight and did the bare minimum to get what he wanted?
I think they're going to be more distracted by how you present it. So, like Nathan said, I would just talk about you succeeding and get it edited. I'm more concerned about that than this reaction.
They don't give a fuck about your plan.
Yeah.
They care about your numbers, and they care about a fact of a national champion in boxing. National champion in absolutely anything is super impressive. It says it like that by itself just speaks volumes. You could be national champion in curling. I don't know. Like that's like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, you rose to the top of a domain.
Any domain.
Yep. There's bajillion out there. And you
Fortnite,
took one and
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Anything. Like you're the national champion. Wow. That's amazing. And none of this other shit matters. And you just should lead with the facts that are really in your favor.
Yep.
I mean, you can't hide from the 2.6. They can't hide from your 2.6. See, that's the thing, really, right? You can give them whatever justification you want, but they don't get
they don't get to provide justifications to anyone else.
That justification does not filter to US News.
Yeah.
So no matter what you say, no matter what your reasons were for this bad grades, that's what it is.
Yep.
So instead, lead with I'm a national champion in boxing.
Yep.
As a final note, I won that national championship my senior year after several concussions, don't mention that, and near misses over my 4 years. I would never mention concussions just because I feel like the school might naturally go, oh shit, is this guy going to have CTE and like become a problem at my school?
What is CTE?
CTE is that thing that makes all the NFL players like go beat their wives and girlfriends after they are done with the NFL.
Violence? Okay. Wow.
Well, it leads to like all sorts of, it's really super sad. I mean, it just leads to all sorts of like dementia and stuff. It's like why nobody should play contact football basically, because it's just like it's barbaric, I mean, knowing what we know now about brain science, they should not be doing that shit.
Yeah. Chronic, traumatic, and then I can't say the last word.
It's like encephalopathy or something.
Yep. Encephalopathy. P.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, it's like a plaque buildup in your brain, and it's like you have
man.
Alzheimer's when you're 28.
Jeez Louise. That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. And like all kinds of depression and suicides and everything else that come from that. So like when you say concussions, Sion, your reader might, knowing what they know about CTE, your reader might go, oh shit, does this guy have depression? Is this guy going to be suicidal? Is this guy going to be violent? Is this guy, you know, you don't want them asking those questions.
Serious concerns. There's also just, and this is combined with your several mistakes in your writing. Like, oh, have these concussions like just made it harder for you to
started
succeed
to affect,
in law school? I'm not a doctor, but none of them are either. So they might jump to these conclusions for better or worse.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to run through the rest of this stuff. 2.6 GPA at West Point. LSAT goal of 177. Don't care. I care what your actual LSAT is. But I mean, with a 172 over 30 timed practice tests, I don't see why you can't get that 177. Test date APR. That must be some military shit for don't know yet. Softs. URM, disabled vet, Airborne Ranger qualified, infantry officer, West Point grad, Afghanistan deployment, 2-time All-American, 1-time national collegiate champion in boxing, 1 year teaching English abroad in Thailand. Don't think anybody cares about that compared to all this other shit. Currently the director of operations at a multi-state cannabis company. I would not emphasize that compared to all of your other stuff. There's nothing wrong with cannabis. Just don't muddy the waters, dude. Pick a couple things. And the couple things that I would pick here are maybe Airborne Ranger qualified, collegiate national champion in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I would stick with those and your 177. And you know, like, the more you say about all the other shit, the less room there is for the really important things to shine. Definitely shut up about your plan. Don't talk about your plan. Talk about winning. Okay, target schools. Any of the T14 because I love rejection, plus Temple and Brooklyn. You need to widen that. 2.6 might automatically disqualify you from most of the top 14. It's great that you're a URM. It's great that you're like going for it and applying to some or even all of the T14. But you shouldn't just apply to T14 plus Temple and Brooklyn. That's too wide of a range.
Yeah.
That's also really kind of weird. Brooklyn's in Brooklyn and Temple is in...
Let's look. Wait. Oh, is it in Philadelphia?
Oh, like Philly. Okay, that makes a lot more sense because then it's at least like saying, yeah, okay, Philly. That makes sense.
Okay.
Still, like, what about Fordham? What about shit? I don't know.
Just use the scholarship estimator. Just go there and find schools.
LSATdemon.com/scholarships. Put in your 2.6 and your 177, and then look for schools that are likely to offer you a full ride. I do not want you paying for law school. I don't want anybody paying for law school. Hey, Ben, what do you do for a living?
I help people save $150,000 off law school.
Attaboy. That's what I do. I mean, well, you don't have to have the same answer I do, but like I feel like that's what I, you know, that's what's going to get me going. Like that's what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
And I especially like helping people like Sion, who are first generation URM. I mean, just because you're a first generation URM, just because you have a low GPA, that doesn't mean that you were like forced to pay for law school.
No, you're like precisely the kind of person who does not want to pay for law school. You don't want to incur any more debt than necessary.
You're exactly the person that I care about the most. If you're you know, privileged, if you're white, I mean, I'm white, which obviously carries a lot of privilege with it. But if you also came from educated parents, came from money, got a 4.0 in undergrad, you had really good counseling the whole way through, you know, the people who are like when you're applying to law school with 4.0 and a 175, I mean, I still don't think you should pay for law school. But you're not the person that I really care about. Like, you're going to win no matter what, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I'm passionate about is helping people like Sion, because the system is set up to rip this dude off.
Yeah.
They want to admit him and bury him in debt. And I really feel like that would be the worst thing that ever happened to him, especially because he doesn't need to. He could go, what could he go to Fordham? Do you think 177, 2.6 full ride at Fordham?
Probably. Let's see.
Ben's going to lsatdemon.com/scholarships.
Okay. I'm putting in a 2.6, putting in a
2.6,
77.
177,
Yeah.
and URM.
And URM. Let's look up Fordham. Fordham. Well, the estimator says more than half.
Okay. It's a good start.
It's a good
Maybe as a disabled vet, Sion might also have yellow ribbon, GI Bill, whatever. So Sion might have other funding. Sion might actually get paid to go to law school by the time we add up all that extra funding. But Sion, don't give up on the money that comes from schools. Make sure you apply at some target schools that are just going to offer you a full ride.
Yeah, and there's several here, by the way. I mean, dozens. So yeah, I'm not seeing any green in the top 14, but top 22: University of Minnesota Law School, University of North Carolina, Alabama School of Law. They're all in the top 30, and they're offering you full tuition, most likely. So
awesome. Sion, thank you for writing in. Sorry for busting your balls about your typos and stuff, but this is the beginning of your legal career. And yeah. Okay.
Yep.
You want to take this next one from Wendy?
Yeah, Wendy writes, one school sent me a copy of this. Okay. One article that discusses watching your spending in law school. Typos are not mine. All right. Well, here we go. This is the quoted material. Here's a tip. Just because you have a credit card doesn't mean you have to use it. Instead of a pricey sandwich at your school's cafe, pack your lunch. Resell your textbooks. Recycle cans if you have to. Do whatever it takes to recycle cans. They want people to make money from recycling cans. Interesting. Do whatever it takes to live within your means. You'll likely have plenty of student loan debt when you graduate, capital T. There's no need to add on credit card debt as well. Wow, that's really fucked up. Like, they're telling you to go get 5 cents from recycling a can. So
10 cents if you live in Michigan.
That's if you live in Michigan, yeah. 10 cents, right, in California? Wait, whatever.
I don't know.
Pennies. They're asking you to go get pennies so that you can limit your debt. Because, by the way, you're already going to have this student loan debt when you graduate, which is over $100,000. It's absurd. It's moving chairs around on the Titanic. It's actually not even moving chairs around on the Titanic. It's like looking over the bow on the Titanic. You're doing nothing, literally nothing, to help your student debt by turning in recycled cans.
So, two interpretations of this, and I think they're both partially right. One is, these motherfuckers have just drank their own Kool-Aid so much that they are just like genuinely giving ridiculously dumb advice. Okay, that's one interpretation.
Yeah.
Like if they are taking themselves seriously with, like resell your textbooks, fuck off. Like, I mean, you're getting $100 back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the books are ridiculously overpriced. You shouldn't even buy your textbooks to begin with. You should figure out a way to not buy your textbooks. Pirate your textbooks. That's what you should do. But resell your textbooks, get $100 back while you pay us $30,000 a semester tuition.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I mean, it's just okay. So it's dumb. It's dumb. Like that's for $100 textbook.
Yeah.
They literally put recycle cans. Okay. So it could be dumb, or it could be incredibly devious and like super smart negotiation strategy. Because if you think about what happens here, they could get you to anchor on some irrelevant shit that you can actually control, and then forget about the very relevant, gigantic iceberg that you're just going to plow straight into. Right?
Yeah, they're getting you to look away from the iceberg.
Look at what they're doing with the credit card debt.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I agree. Don't put money on your credit card. Like don't
carry money on your credit card from
month to month.
Never carry
a balance.
No.
Never carry a balance. Pay off your credit card every month. But your credit card debt compared to your student loan debt is just outrageous. Like you don't have $150,000 limit on your credit card.
Nope.
Like Visa's going to be like, yeah, sorry. We're not going to go over 15 grand on that.
If that.
But law schools are going to go 150, 250, 350. And so by steering you toward, look at, over here, you could pack your lunch. Come on. Really? Like, I trust me. Yeah. $12 for your sandwich at your stupid cafe. Definitely overpriced.
Yep.
But like the fact that I brought a $2 peanut butter and jelly, if I did that every single day for all 3 years of law school, how much money am I possibly saving?
Exactly. Well, this is exactly what I want to say is that I don't care how much you fuck this up. You fuck up all these things. You go buy a pricey sandwich. You actually buy 2 of them and you throw one away. You're like, I'm not that hungry. And you throw it away. And you don't resell your textbooks. You burn them. You buy all bottled water and you don't recycle them instead of drinking from your tap. You do all these things 100% wrong. The damage is a mere blip. It's a drop in the bucket.
If you do the other thing right,
yes,
you could just go ahead and do all the other stuff totally wrong. Buy a $4 Coke on campus. Do not recycle the bottle.
Yep. Yeah. Foolishly don't pack and then go buy lunch from somebody else who's willing to charge you $20 for their food.
Give your bottle though to the person who didn't get a full ride. Like you're there on a full ride. They're paying your tuition. Go ahead and buy lunch on campus. Buy lunch for them too, and let them keep the bottles, because they're going to recycle those bottles and make not even a scratch on the surface of their $250,000 of debt they're going to graduate with. And these motherfuckers in law schools with this they just blithely assume, you'll likely have plenty of student loan debt when you graduate.
Yeah, because that's how the system operates. You go get a loan, astronomical loan from the federal government, and then give the money to us, and we cart you through things that are called classes. Takes about 3 years, and then you go on your way.
That's the business they're in.
Yeah.
They're also at the same time in a secret business of giving scholarships to people, that like the people who play the game well, and I didn't, Ben didn't.
Yeah.
That's why we're so passionate about what we do, is that we want to show you this other side of the game that is fully available to everyone if you just choose to play it correctly.
Yep. Thanks,
You want to
Wendy.
read the rest of Wendy's email?
Sure. Well, she writes, recycle cans because you will have lots of student loan debt. What the actual fuck? ? There is also an article on 5 shocking law school murders.
Because the law schools are just, they're just spamming you. All they want to do is just get your attention. They're just like flashing lights. It's like a television. It's like, it's just like, hey, pay attention. Look at us. Pay attention to us.
Yeah.
Us. Apply to us. Come to us. We'll give you fun stuff like
Give
shocking
your federal
law school
money
murders.
to us.
Yeah, exactly. We want to use you to essentially defraud
The taxpayer.
taxpayers via the student loan system. Yeah.
Yep.
Great. You want to listen to somebody who's not going to help law schools to defraud the student loan system?
Yes, please.
All right, this one's coming from Vladimir, former LSAT Demon student. I remember Vladimir in our classes. I have this memory of him the first day he showed up, probably because of his unusual Russian-sounding name. But anyway, Vladimir says, "Hi, guys. I want to thank everyone involved in developing the Thinking LSAT podcast and LSAT Demon website. As a first-generation immigrant, I never thought I had a chance at defeating the LSAT and getting a good enough score to attend law school for free! However, after 6 months of studying with the Demon, I was able to get from a 142 diagnostic to a 169. That's a 27-point improvement from our man, Vladimir, who is a first-generation American immigrant.
Cool.
I took your advice and applied early to 27 schools. While I got waitlisted at all of the T14, I did get a full ride from one of my top choices, UNC Law. I believe that's the second UNC Law shout out that happened today.
Yeah.
I also got a full ride at ASU, GW, UIUC. I don't even know what that is. And Colorado Law. So Vlad has 5 full rides to choose from.
Yep.
I never thought I could accomplish such a feat. Now I can use my GI Bill at UNC, I'm a U.S. Army vet, and receive a $30,000 stipend to cover my living expenses.
Whoa, is that per year or over the course of 3 years, I wonder?
It can't be per year because there's no way it costs $30,000 a year to live in North Carolina.
Yeah, I just don't I don't know how they come up with these numbers, but
Maybe it does. Who knows? I mean, some of those benefits from GI Bill are like amazing. Like,
yeah.
They give you the living expenses of your rank when you get out of the service. And so it can be like, I remember having a student being like, well, I for sure want to go to law school in San Francisco because they also adjust it for the place where you're going to live. Like they adjust it based on so he was intentionally choosing the most expensive market.
Okay.
That's your tax dollars at work, by the way.
Yeah, cool.
Anyway, good. I'm glad. I want all of our students to take advantage of all of the shit that they have available to them, for sure. So I'm glad that Vlad is, working the system. That's great. He goes on, the dreams do come true if you work your ass off to make it happen. And that's Vladimir.
Cool. Wow, that's
Any
awesome.
thoughts about that?
A stipend. I mean, our goal is for you to go for free in the sense that you don't have to pay tuition, but you're still going to incur costs of living and so forth. But to get $30,000 on top of that, oh, that's a great situation to be in.
Yeah. I mean, essentially that's military benefits, right? So
Yeah.
if you don't have access to that, you don't have access to that, but you do still have access to the everything else about Vlad's story, which is just get a really good LSAT score, apply early, apply broadly, and get yourself multiple full ride scholarship offers to choose from.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I'm wondering though is if Vlad hadn't done this, then that $30,000 would have had to go toward tuition probably, right? Like I'm not sure how the GI Bill works, but
I don't know.
So I feel like I hear people like, oh, I don't need to worry about saving money or getting a scholarship because I'm just going to use this government program. Okay, but then are you giving up stipends or your stipend isn't as big?
And in some cases, you can actually use that money to pay for like your family's tuition expenses. Not in all cases, but I've heard of people doing that as well. So,
or maybe previous loan debt. I don't know.
Just because you have these benefits doesn't mean that you need to waste them on law school tuition.
Yeah.
That's really the thing. Okay. Law school is wildly overpriced.
Yes, please.
And it's an unfair system where they let some people go for free and they make other people pay full price.
Yep.
And that's what's unfair. That's the fucked up system that we have a problem with. if law school tuition was a reasonable amount, even close to reasonable, like $10,000 a year, then we wouldn't be yelling about this. But when law school tuitions are just this completely fictional $50,000 a year, and they don't charge most people full price, like when they're giving more than half the class more than 50% scholarships, well then, okay, it's a scam on the people who pay, and we don't want you to fall victim to that scam.
Yep.
Especially if you're first generation immigrant, underrepresented minority. I mean, the brunt of this debt falls worse on those people. And that's also completely unfair. That's totally unjust and optional, because you don't have to do that. You could just follow our fucking advice and get a full ride.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I'm agitated today. Anything else about any of these?
Nope. Thanks for writing in.
Want to tackle this logical reasoning question?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm reading. You're doing the question.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
This is coming to us from PrepTest 73, section 4, number 6. A clinician, I'm going to turn off the explanation. We have a full written explanation here already in the Demon. So if you don't like our audio definition, you could get yourself a free account, lsatdemon.com, and do this question and tell us to shut up. But anyway, clinician says, patients with immune system disorders are usually treated with a class of drugs that, unfortunately, increase the patient's risk of developing osteoporosis, a bone loss disease.
Okay. There are some side effects to taking immune system drugs.
So, these patients take another drug that helps to preserve existing bone.
All right. Kind of sucks. You have to take some medication to fix a problem, but that leads to more problems. So then you got to take more medication to fix the second problem. But yeah, I mean, so far I'm hearing facts.
Well, and I mean, in the first case, right, if you have an immune system disorder,
yeah,
right, there seems to be this like
hierarchy
sort of, well, there's this background assumption that the immune system disorder potentially might like kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're going to get this risk of developing osteoporosis, which sucks, but it sounds like that is less severe of a problem than your immediate problem of, hey, my immune system doesn't work, or it's going to attack an organ or whatever.
AIDS, right? I mean,
yeah,
like AIDS could kill you. So you have to take this cocktail of drugs. Like, unfortunately, one of them has a bad effect of you could give yourself osteoporosis.
Yep.
Because you're trying not to die from AIDS. Oh, well, we'll give you this other drug to help preserve your bone, since we're going to give you osteoporosis with this one drug. And it sucks, but I saw Magic Johnson this weekend at the All-Star nonsense that was going on TV. And Magic Johnson has been living with AIDS since I was in high school. So, like, probably worth it for him, right?
Yeah.
Okay, since a drug that enhances the growth of new bone cells has now become available, these patients should take this new drug in addition to the drug that helps to preserve existing bone. Makes perfect sense, right? I mean, why not? Like, if the drug to preserve your existing bone is good, why not take this additional drug which can actually help you to grow bone?
If I were one of these patients, I would definitely be interested in not only preserving existing bone, but maybe even adding new bone. One, assuming that's helpful, maybe preserving existing bone is enough, right? I don't need bigger bones. Maybe I just need to prevent the bones I have from deteriorating. But the other question I have, which was actually indirectly raised by the argument itself, and that is, sure, you've just told me a benefit of this new drug, right? It can enhance the growth of new bone cells, but does this new drug also come with a slew of side effects?
Interesting.
I don't know.
So one objection to the argument is, well, tell me about this new drug. Like, you just, because I mean, the argument leaps to the conclusion of, oh yeah, they should definitely start taking it.
Yep.
And so Ben is like, well, I would like to become better. Like, maybe, but I mean, tell me about this new drug. Like, is it going to give me heart attacks?
Or worsen my immune system? Or
Right. Exactly. Yeah, totally. Another objection that you could make here is like, new bone, huh? Okay. Well, I mean, is that where, huh? Like, new bone. I have never gone around thinking like, boy, I really wish I had more bone.
yeah.
Like, is a bone going to like grow out of your ear?
Yeah. That's one extreme. But I mean, as long as the first medicine is preserving my existing bone, maybe that's all. I'm good. I don't need to. Yeah.
Yeah. What we're demonstrating here, and we could go on for an hour, many objections to a single argument.
Yep.
How much is it going to cost?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say this argument falls into this general category of arguments in which they give you some pros, they give you some reasons to do something, and then they say, therefore, you should do it. And they fail to mention any potential cons.
Right. Completely ignoring the potential downsides of this. Yeah.
There's a flip of that, and they give you a bunch of cons, and they say you shouldn't do it. And you're like, yeah, but what about the potential benefits? So,
yep.
Cool.
Great. All right. Question says, which one of the following would be most useful to know in order to evaluate the clinician's argument?
Okay. So because we've already evaluated the argument and figured out some potential objections, answer choices that touch on those objections would be helpful, right? For example, if one of these answers alludes to whether or not there are side effects to this new medicine, that would be a useful thing to know. I'd like to know if there are side effects. So I'm going into the answers looking for something that helps me learn a little bit more about at least one of our objections.
Yeah, I mean, all it basically does, this question, we're going to very likely, we're going to hear our own voice coming from one of these answer choices.
Yeah.
Right? We were already making objections and
asking questions.
Yeah. Exactly. So,
yeah.
But if we had phrased it, or making statements even. Yeah. So, Ben, you just made a statement. You just said, I would like to know about the side effects. Mm-hmm. Could you have phrased that as a question?
Sure. What are the side effects?
What are the side effects? Yeah. So, as an objection, it might be, well, this thing might have deleterious side effects.
Deleterious. Yep.
What if it deletes my ability to see?
Yeah.
That
would be shitty.
Yeah. Okay. So does this drug have any side effects that I might need to worry about? That could be the answer.
Yeah.
Does this, I don't know, boy, you could go on with a million of them, right? Does this drug make me blind?
Does this drug cost $1 million?
Does this drug worsen immune system disorders? Does this drug interfere with the original drug that was going to save me from this immune system disorder?
Does this drug grow bone in my ear?
Does this drug? Yeah, exactly. Okay, perfect. And so then all we're doing, it's like, because we have already been objecting and asking lots of questions of this clinician, we're going to recognize when we get to the right answer. It's just, we're going to know it when we see it, because it's like, oh yeah. I mean, it might not even be one that we've thought of.
Doesn't matter. We're ready.
Right. If one of the answers is like, does the drug give me dyslexia? We're going to be like, oh shit, I never thought about that. Why would I have thought about that?
No, but you have thought of the general category of potential side effects. And so anything that falls into that, you're going to be ready for.
Great. A, how large is the class of drugs that increase the risk of developing osteoporosis?
How many other drugs increase the risk of osteoporosis? I don't care.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, totally. Because I don't care if there's an anti-cancer drug that causes osteoporosis. Irrelevant. If this had said, does the drug that adds bone increase the risk of developing osteoporosis?
That would be interesting. Because
Well,
then you'd be like, whoa, it's like fixing the problem it's trying to solve. Or it's like it's creating the
adding a
problem.
new bone while killing your old bone, right?
Yeah.
That would be dumb. But that actually, if that was listed as a question, that
No,
would be
sure.
like, oh yeah, that's the answer. Because I mean, that would be a problem if it did that.
Yep.
Okay, B. Why are immune system disorders treated with drugs that increase the risk of developing osteoporosis?
Um, I don't care what, I mean, they could give us an answer like, oh, here's why they lead to osteoporosis, but that doesn't tell me about whether or not I should use this new drug. So I already
That's
know
actually-
that they
yeah.
do, right? So
I bet a lot of people are tempted by B because it's like if you were the patient, you probably would want to know.
yeah, why are you
Like,
giving me this
what?
side effect?
Right. But the doctor's going to go, oh, well, because you're going to die from the immune system disorder. And it's just it's a side effect that we can't avoid.
Yeah, if we could avoid it, we would have given you something else. So what do you want to do
Yeah. I
about it?
mean, it's not an unreasonable question to ask. It just doesn't have any bearing on whether you should take this new drug that adds bone. C. Is the new drug more expensive than the drug that helps to preserve existing bone?
Okay, this is tempting. It does tie into cost, but the problem here is that if the answer to this question is yes, yeah, it is more expensive. I'm still like not sure what to do about it. Like if the doctor said, "Well, by the way, this new drug is going to be more expensive than the drug you're taking right now," you might be. Would you not get the new drug? You'd still need to know like, well, how much is more expensive? Like, is the
You'd also
current drug
need to
$3 and now it's $4 for this other one? So what?
Does it completely eliminate my osteoporosis problem?
Yeah.
Like, is it going to save me from having a broken hip?
Yeah.
Then, whatever. Flip side of that, what if the answer is no? No, it's not more expensive.
Okay,
So does that mean you're going to automatically start taking it?
What if the one, is currently like astronomically expensive? They're telling you to take it in addition to the drug that helps to preserve existing bone. So
There's
now
even a
two of
better
those?
objection.
Yeah.
What if it's free?
It
gonna
could
take
still
it if
have
it's
side
free?
effects, right? But
Exactly.
Yeah.
What if it causes a bone to grow out of my ear? What if it causes blindness?
Yeah.
What if it, like just because it's cheaper doesn't mean I'm automatically going to take it.
yeah.
D. How long has the drug that helps to preserve existing bone been in use?
So what? Like, oh, 1,000,000 years. Okay. The Egyptians used it. But should I use the new one? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the new drug.
Yeah.
E. To what extent does the new drug retain its efficacy when used in combination with the other drugs?
Oh, well. Okay, there are two answers to this question. Well, I don't actually there are multiple answers because it says to what extent. But let's go to the extremes. It retains its efficacy perfectly. Okay, great. So it still works. That's nice to know. It doesn't retain its efficacy at all. Okay, well, then what's the point in taking it along with the other drug? This would be helpful information to know. I'd still like to know about side effects, but of all the answers given so far, this is the one that's the most helpful, even though there are other questions that could be even more helpful.
Excellent. So, I mean, A, B, C, D are just worthless. They're not going to help me at all to decide whether I want to take this new drug.
Yeah, I would say
But-
C is mild, like a feather. Like it's like it could be mildly
Okay,
helpful.
1%.
Dependent. Yeah, but again, it's just
1%.
like compared to
But-
E is so much better.
E, there is an answer to E that makes me sure I will not take the new drug,
Yeah,
right? If the answer to E is, oh, yeah, no, it doesn't work with these other drugs,
yeah.
then I'm definitely not taking it. No matter what else is true, I'm not taking it if the answer to E is 0.
Yep.
If the answer to E is 100%, I don't know that I'm going to take the drug for sure.
We still
But
don't
it's
know.
one less thing to worry about.
Yep.
It's like, oh, it does work with these drugs. Okay, well, now let's talk about the side effects. Let's talk about the cost. Let's talk about if a bone's going to grow out of my ear. Like, let's talk about the other stuff. But if it was 0, then I'm definitely not taking it. And so the answer to E is useful to help me determine whether this is good advice from the clinician.
Yeah, that's got to be the answer.
And that's the answer. Okay. You can be LSAT famous. All you got to do is email help@thinkinglsat.com. I would encourage you to write it and then put it aside and then come back to it and edit it, before you send it. Most emails that we receive could be about half as long and have 100% of the same information. So shorter is better, and it's less likely to have typos and stuff if you make it shorter. Anyway, we do want to hear from you. If you have questions, if you have news, tips, we had a great tip today from Charlie about how to do better in school and stuff like that. We would love to help to disseminate to our listeners.
Yeah.
So just email help@thinkinglsat.com. If you have questions about the LSAT Demon, you can email help@lsatdemon.com. We are pretty confident that it's the very best LSAT prep money can buy, or it's also the best LSAT prep that's available for free. We have amazing free resources at lsatdemon.com, and we hope that you will use them. If you are going to pay anybody for LSAT prep, we hope that you'll pay us. I don't know. We just help people improve more. So if that's what you're in this whole thing for, which really that's what you should be interested in.
Yeah.
We think we're the best. Check out our other podcast, LSAT Demon Daily, comes out 5 days a week. That was episode 339 of the Thinking LSAT podcast. Thanks all y'all for listening. Nice knowing you. Don't pay for law school.